Liquid feelings. Liquid pride, yeah. No, it's tears. Let's just call it what it is. I'm so old. Okay. Everybody back here? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go right on into our Saturday Guest of Honor panel. Once again, there's a whole bunch of people standing in the back of the room. If everyone could please slide towards the walls to try and make room for some people that are sitting in the back, that'd be great. Folks in the back, there's a whole bunch of seats over here if you want to grab a spot. If you're next to an empty chair, please put your hand up after you've scooted over. We'll try and eliminate the chairs in the holes in the middle.
Yeah, 5 over here.
And then once you've scooted over, put your hand up if there's a seat next to you. And everybody in the back, feel free to grab a spot. I've got 3 up here, some over there. There's a whole bunch. People in the back, there's a whole bunch of seats on this side of the room if you want to grab a spot. You don't have to, but if you want to grab a spot, there's a whole bunch of seats over here. Okay. Folks, I think you can put your hands down if there's an empty seat. There's a whole bunch that I think people will be able to find at this point. Everybody, if you're in the back, if you want to sit down, whole bunch of seats. Everyone else, thank you very much. One moment, we'll get this started. Oops.
Camera takes a fall. Huh? My camera nearly takes a fall.
Yeah, but it's normal. You have to stay smelling.
Not friends anymore. See ya.
Okay, we're waiting for a few more to navigate the elevator system of the Hyatt Regency Milwaukee. But while that's happening, for your moderator for the panel today, please welcome to the stage the one and only Fall Papers.
British.
I swear the sniffing is all just allergies. Is there actually a dry eye in the house here? Not many. Seriously, how good was that finale, folks?
So good, I will watch it again.
Well, we have a few of the people to blame. I beg your pardon. Thank for that marvelous finale. I want to bring them out on stage. I'm going to ask them a few questions, and then we're going to open things up to the floor. So, without any further gilding of the lily, can I please welcome to the stage the one, the only, Mr. Jim Miller. The wonderful Katrina Salisbury is here. We've got Kelly Sheridan in the house. Please welcome to the stage Tori Grant. Sorry. Desiree Salmark is here. And Sonny Westbrook, I believe, is still backstage. And of course, Claire Corlett. So, how are you all doing? I see some tears up here as well, I think.
Just, those are bleary eyes from being too tired.
Sure. Sure they are.
Of course. Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I've seen that thing hundreds of times.
Well, is this your first time seeing it, though, with a live crowd of bronies watching it and
Yes.
hearing their reactions?
Yes. That's really cool.
I'm so emotional, you guys.
I think actually, let's just start with a huge thank you to all of the people on stage for all of their work on the show. So I want to move down the line. I want to start with you, Jim, and address
Okay.
this question to everyone. When did you first learn that the show was ending, and how did you sort of react?
I learned probably summer of 2017.
Wow.
So quite a while ago. I think my reaction at the time was sort of a mixture of disappointment and relief. Because I think that knowing the ending was coming kind of reinvigorated us, and if we had extended it on too much longer, you would have seen people get kind of bored working on it or move on to other things, because I think it just, that knowing that we were working towards a big ending and that we were going to have the opportunity to end the show properly rather than just have it stop made all the difference to the crew.
And you've been on since day one, effectively. You've been on since 2009, 2010?
In 2010, not day one, like towards the second half of boarding of season 1. You know.
Which episode did you start with?
Cutie Mark Chronicles.
Good one.
So, moving down the line, reactions to the show ending. Katrina?
Sad. I mean, I only started on it in season 8, so...
But you were a fan going back to...
I watched,
school?
like, Equestria Girls back in the day.
Yeah.
Watch a movie here. Yeah.
We have some
Thanks,
Equestria
Charlie.
Girls fans here too, right?
I remember sitting in my friend's basement watching one of the movies going like, maybe one day I'd be on that show. Going like, nah, it's never gonna happen. And then being here is kind of crazy. So, you can do it, guys. Yeah, it was bittersweet. I'm glad that everybody got a good send-off. And I wish it had kept going, but I'm also, I liked it a lot.
Still hoping for the Yona spin-off?
Yeah, I'm gonna fund it myself. No. Yakety yak. No,
Kelly,
My little, yeah.
My reaction to the ending.
your reaction to hearing that the show was coming to an end?
Well, I was recording an episode when we did On the Road to Friendship. I had a line in the song that basically told everybody the show was ending.
Yeah, for 9 seasons at least.
For 9 at least, yeah. So that was a while ago. Of course it's sad. I mean, it's such a wonderful project to be a part of, but it's also just part of what we do. It really is, not to be punny about it, a gift horse. Where you so seldomly get projects like this. You're lucky to even get a job in the first place.
Most cartoons we work on, we're like lucky if they go 2 seasons.
If you get 2 seasons, that's like, ooh, because cartoons are what they call evergreens. So you only really need to do a couple of seasons for them. If you have a kid audience, your audience kind of outgrows the show and they show it to the next batch of kids. But this is obviously a really unique experience, and not the first time I've had that experience. I've been part of other franchises that went for a long time, and it's always kind of marks like a changing point in my life each time it happens. Just like, ooh, this is a big shift. Like, what's coming next? And that's what I'm trying to hold on to, is the fact that it's a shift and there's something cool and it's making room for something cool and exciting coming next. So hopefully that's how you all feel as well. You can miss it and mourn it and go
Well, it's not
back and
going
rewatch
anywhere.
it.
It's still on.
Yeah, you can rewatch them as many
It's there
times.
Forever.
I know I will.
Netflix lives forever.
But
There's like 100+ hours of content. That's a lot.
But it's making room for the next thing, and that's exciting because something had to make room for this, right? And this was a really amazing next thing. So there's another amazing next thing coming.
Making room for G5. And actually, I looked into this. I thought Jim had been working on My Little Pony as a franchise for the longest, but then I looked at your IMDb page, Kelly, and you were on My Little Pony Tales back in 1992.
It was my
if I have that right?
my first like big gig, my first series. Yeah, I was 13.
Wow.
So we've got some OG fans, right? Gen 3, Gen 3.5, all the way in the back. Okay, Tori, your reaction when the show ended. Since you're quite new, you came on board with Equestria Girls?
Yeah, I came on at the end of Legend of Everfree, but I was a fan of the show when it started. Like, I was like in college. I think I did a fan board.
What? I need to see this.
No, I never watched the show. It was just a serious project. There was nothing crazy. I didn't throw in my OCs.
Find it.
Jim wants to see it now.
I was just really happy to be a part of it. I knew it was going to end because, like Kelly said, shows aren't forever. Like, the production will end eventually. But yeah, I was glad to be a part of it, and I'm really glad how it ended. It felt like it completed it. So I was bummed, but yeah, glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, Pony was always, it seemed like a constant in the studio, and no matter what show I was working on, I always felt like I could somehow go back to it, like a comfortable sweater. Like, I know these characters inside and out, I can draw them so quickly, and then when I heard it was ending, it was kind of like taking a step, and then you just kind of fall a little bit, and it's like, oh no, what am I gonna do now?
Yeah, going on to new shows, I'm just like, oh right, they're not horses, they
I have to, yeah, I have to draw hands again. But I agree, watching the final episode, it made sense, and it felt right. But I still, if I could go back and do it all over again, yeah, why not?
Sonny, I understand that you're also a fan of the show and that you started auditioning for it in season 5 and then came on board?
I was finally lucky enough to be cast for Cozy Glow.
You just had to wait for the perfect part, that's all.
That's what you said to me the first time I met you. Like, oh, hi, I'm Sunny. I don't know how you fit into all this. You're like, oh, I'm Big Jim. I'm like, oh, you're the guy in the credits. Hello. And he said, yeah, he said, I'm so happy you're finally here. Well, we've been hearing you for a while and looking for a place to find you. And I darn near cried right there. That's a good. So, yeah, but I grew up with My Little Pony. My sister and I had the Magic Castle with a little baby Spike, and it came with a treasure chest with golden horseshoes and shoes for hooves. And a little princess hat for the unicorn. I think it was Moon Dancer that came with the castle set. So for me, this isn't over. It's just My Little Pony has been a part of my life. I've grown up with it, and I feel like I'm on borrowed time anyway. Like, the fact that Cozy came back for season 9, woo-hoo, they let her out of jail and I get to keep doing this? This is just all joy and love here. This isn't over. Yeah.
People enjoy the unredeemed, irredeemable Cozy Glow, right?
Yeah. Well, that would have been nice.
And Claire, you've literally grown up on the show and with the show. How has that been? What were your feelings when you learned it was ending?
It's crazy. I've never, I understand that, a lot of voice actors, we've been discussing, if you get a second season, you're like, wow, that's amazing. For this to have gone on as long as it has is incredible. And I'm super, super grateful, and I cannot thank you guys enough and everyone enough for watching and making this, last and have a fan base that is so big and goes, across the globe for, 9-10 years now. That's crazy, because I was a baby when I started, and now I'm less of a baby. And that's kind of cool to, look back, there's no way that I'm, in a million years, am I ever going to be, looking over my life and, forgetting this chunk of it. This is a huge part of, where my career is heading and like all like growing up and stuff, and like I'm just very, very grateful, and I think that the way that the show ended, I mean, every show has to end at some point, unless you're, what is it, The Simpsons?
Simpsons!
Like,
Still freaking going!
We don't talk about them. Like, even Friends is like one of the most successful shows, and it has 10 seasons, and it ended well, and it ended at a point where it was like, the height was not, you're not dropping in fan base, views or anything yet. Like, understanding from that standpoint, like, it can't last forever, but like we've said, like there's gonna be spin-offs or like other things, like obviously it's gonna keep going in some way or another, so as long as you guys wanted to keep going, then the show's not over. It's whatever you want, and Netflix is gonna last forever, so yeah.
So in terms of looking back at your time on the show, be it years or be it a year or however long you worked on it, I'm curious to know what your enduring memories will be, and what the most satisfying moment you had on the show was, or your favourite moment working on it, or just the most memorable, or for better or worse. So Jim, shall we start with you?
Sure. I mean, 9 years, that's a lot of time, a lot of things happen. There's a lot of things that I really treasure on the show, and it's like you asked me to pick one. It's impossible to just be like, yeah, this was the thing. And when you're in those moments, you don't necessarily go, yeah, this is the moment I'm gonna remember. Like that never happens. So there's a lot of, I don't know, there's just the hanging out with the crew and working with a lot of these amazingly talented people in the voice cast and the creative side. Like, that to me is more important than the show in a lot of ways. Like, the show is great, and we want to make a great show, and we did make a great show, but I would have still enjoyed the job I had done if the show wasn't great, if I was working with these people still, because they're just so much fun. So I mean, those are the kind of things that I treasure, and that I will try to recreate in future projects.
And I feel I should point out, you mentioned working with the cast, that you're actually a member of the cast yourself. You did voice Troubleshoes way back when, and
that was
King Sombra as well.
That was unfortunate. You deserved better.
I don't think that's the case. I think the audience rather appreciated your turn.
I fished you and I reeled you in.
Nicely done.
There's a moment that I won't forget, because I was sure I was getting fired. It was the third or fourth episode that we were recording, and Gavin, who plays Gallus, went up to Devin Cody, who's one of our producers, and introduced himself. And I was like, oh shoot, I haven't done that yet. I should go introduce myself to Devin. So I walked right up to him and I'm like, hey, I'm Katrina, nice to meet you. And he's like, yeah, we met at your audition. And I went, oh God!
Wait, that's your favorite moment?
Sorry, I didn't remember you.
That's your favorite moment?
No, it's just a memorable moment, because I went home.
My favorite time is when I almost screwed it all up.
I'm getting fired now. I'm never going back there. I don't know.
And it's like Devin's memorable. He has a huge beard.
Yeah, same hat.
Beard, toots. He has the most memorable face and went right over my head. I was very nervous at the audition. That's one of the most memorable. But there's so many memorable moments. A favorite thing for me is when people come up and will tell me how much Yona means to them, be it because she's clumsy, bigger girl, and I mean, I'm not a tiny chick. So when people come up to me and say that it means so much for her to be on screen and for people to be seen and heard and felt, that always gets me, because that's what I want to see on screen. That's how I want to see myself on screen. So in a way, I guess, I don't know. No, anyway. I think that's what I love. No.
Well, how do I top that? That was so sweet and endearing. Yeah, wow, so many memories. And like, just anytime we work in the studio together, it's one hilarious kind of moment after another. It's always fun reading a script and kind of wondering what your friends are going to do with it, and hearing some awesome performances in the room. I think I've grown as an actor just watching Ashley and Andrea and Tabitha and Kathy and Kathleen, all those incredible women work. So that's been really neat, and seeing, becoming closer with them and seeing them, start families, and a lot happens in 9 years. So, I've only been on the show for a while.
Claire grew up.
Claire grew up, allegedly.
I started a family a couple years ago.
Yeah. Little Tamagotchi family.
A few children as well.
So that's definitely memorable. And then so many moments with all of you, and getting to travel to all these places that I probably never would have, thought to go to, and meeting people from all over the place and fans, and hearing how the show impacted their lives. And then also getting the chance to hang out with people that work on the production side of the show, which we never get the pleasure of doing that as actors. You meet a director, you meet a producer, and that's usually about it. But meeting people that do the comics, or that do storyboarding and do layout and do all that other stuff is awesome. It's really cool to work with people who actually make the show. We just show up and do our little thing for 4 hours, and then that's it.
We can't do the voices ourselves.
We know to stay in our lane.
Well, you don't, Jim. You don't stay in
that's
your
right,
lane.
yeah.
Crystal Daddy!
My most memorable moment. It's so hard to pick. I just love all the friends that I've made on the production. The team is great. But I think the best was when we started a D&D group. It's a bunch of people from the production. There was the layout supervisor.
It's all girls.
Yeah.
Yes!
And Jim.
Occasionally me.
Sometimes Jim joins as a bard.
As a board.
But we've been playing, I think, for almost 2.5 years or something. And and it's been so fun.
I keep trying to convince them to start a stream or a podcast because it's really fun.
Okay.
That answers the question I had about future projects. Podcast, right there.
The last few seasons for storyboards, we ended up moving into this really tiny room. And I don't know how the poster got up there, but there was a Dolphin World poster. And I think it just manifested itself. And
Like the kind of poster you'd find in a truck stop or something.
yeah,
Of a
it just had a
dolphin.
bunch of dolphins on it, and it said Dolphin World. And for some reason, the board artists just latched onto this. And we started decorating dolphins everywhere. We got an inflatable dolphin, and we hung it from the ceiling, and then
Beautiful lips on it.
yeah, we drew beautiful lips on it, and then we made dolphin personas, and then we hung those on the wall, and then when a board artist left, we would turn it into a memorial. And so we became the Dolphin World, and everyone was the dolphins, and we made pins that like Girl Scouts. So if you stayed late working on a board, you got a stayed late pin, and there was a drawing of an insomniac dolphin on it. And there's so much. And all the directors had their own good job pins that everybody always wanted to get, because it was you did a great job on this board, here's the pin. And then every other board artist was like, oh, you got Jim's pin? It was so much fun. So if you see dolphins in the show, it's just know that we're all the board artists are
Yeah, there's a moment in Great Seedling where Apple Bloom is digging through a box looking for stuff to catch the Great Seedling, and she throws out, it's a shark, because we didn't have a dolphin design, but in the board it was a dolphin as a reference to Dolphin World.
If I may cut in for just a moment, I'm going to try and make eye contact with our chair, Charlie. Charlie, how are we doing on time? Because we started late. I want to make sure I don't delay the next panel. What's the story? How late can we go over? A couple of hours? 3 hours? 4 hours?
Yeah.
Couple of days?
You guys have already here, right?
That's who design next.
So on the schedule, we've got 15 minutes left. I think we'll tack on an extra 10.
Extra 10?
For the delay.
Okay, cool.
That's an extra 10, everyone. Extra 10, extra 10.
Thank you, Ted.
Thank you, 10. Thank you, 10. Theater kids in the house.
So, Sunny, I think you were up next.
Yeah, I'm going to take a page out of Katrina's book and tell you the embarrassing thing I did.
Embarrassment moment.
So the way they do auditions on My Little Pony, which has been such a gift for me, is the show ran for 9 years. Every voice actor in Vancouver has been on the show at least once. Some of them a couple of times. So they started bringing in new voices. And the way they do that is they ask us to audition by MP3 at home, and then they bring you in for a callback if they think you're right. So I got brought in for a callback, and I think it might have been Tula Rula or Kettle Corn. They actually cast live children for that, but they were...
Live children, not
Very complicated. Yeah. You see what I'm up against? So they brought in real children instead of adults pretending to be children in the end. But in between now and then, I go in for my callback, and I'm doing the really cute voice. And you open your eyes really big when you're doing the cute voice. And my contact flipped over and got bent.
Oh no.
And instead of going, oh, excuse me, I have to fix my contact, I'm like, no, I'm a professional. I'm going to power through and tell nobody. And so I just like take my contacts out quick. They're disposable, whatever. I just stick them on the stand. And
That's what that was. That was my stand.
You're welcome. And the voice director's like, yeah, okay, could you do it again? But like, ditch that cutesy pause. What was that? And again, instead of saying my contact fell out, I'm like, yeah, I'm a pro. I got this. I'll do it again. No pause. Great direction. Got your note. So I felt stupid for that. It was super memorable.
Favorite moment.
We thought you just wiped your boogers on the stand.
She was little.
I was 18. Okay. Just to kind of like make sure that we really have that extra 10, I'll make this super quick. So I think in general, I immediately go to inside jokes. Like when you're in a session with a bunch of people, like they're your friends, they're not just your coworkers. Like we do have that kind of atmosphere anyway, which is amazing, and especially to like grow up in and like kind of get a professional feel for things as a kid. Like that is really important. And I don't think it's really hit me until like just the second how cool it is that we, instead of just, you know, going in for a session and being like, okay, see you next week or whenever the next episode is, bye, or at someone's birthday party they're having, maybe, it's like, hey, are you going to this convention like next Friday? Are you going to that one? Are you going to the thing? And like, oh, see you on the plane, you know, like that kind of stuff. That is so cool, I just realized. Like, there's no way that, like, it's not that this isn't, like, a big show, but, like, you think of sci-fi shows or, like, Marvel or, like, all these things of people talking on panels, and, like, here we are with a bunch of mics on a panel, like, answering questions. Like, that's whack, guys. Like, I don't think you understand. Like, that's pretty weird. That's dope, though. Like, I'm so excited, because it's, like, no matter how many times I think about it, it always gets cooler when I think about it. I don't know, maybe it's because it's over, but you know, I think that that's really fun. But there's plenty of like stories now that are coming to mind. Like there's an inside joke. Well, we can share this.
You can tell it. Yeah.
So I don't know when we decided this. Do you know what I'm about to say?
Yeah. I think
okay.
so.
So we had this thing where I came in and I flubbed up a line or something, and I was like, I don't know, it might have been like 14 or 15 or something. And I almost said a bad word. That's what I thought. Well, if you know me, I do that all the time now. But as a 14-year-old, I was being respectful in the workplace. And I said, I flubbed up a line and I was like, shit, it was a thing to be like, ooh, Claire was gonna swear. And I was like, no, I'm not. I will never swear. And I made the promise to Big Jim, and I said, if I ever swear in a My Little Pony session, I will buy the entire crew, not the cast because I don't care about them, the entire because the crew stays consistent, and I didn't know if there would be more people, and then my bank account would be dropped. But I was like, I will buy the entire crew coffees the next time I come in. And I was actually really terrified that I had to do that.
She came really close a couple times.
I came so close so many times.
And I kept trying to poke her in a way to make her swear.
Through the side of the glass, like this. So close. So then I just made up my own swear words, so that's kind of fun. Yeah.
So on the topic of how cool it is to be here and answer questions, I think we should turn it over to the audience. So I'm sure you all have questions. We've got a microphone up here, so if folks want to line up to ask questions of these wonderful folks, let's make sure that we get our folks with ADA passes and kids up front. None of these folks are under NDAs now, so you can maybe ask about, well, you can ask about future seasons, but they're going to make something up. And in the meantime, while folks are queuing up, I want to ask all of you one final question, which is there a lesson that you're going to take away from your time on the show that you want to share with the audience, or really anything that you might want to share with the audience?
Be grateful.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of amazing things that happen on this show, and it changed our lives as much as it changed yours. So as much as you're thanking us, I have to thank you guys, because this is so unprecedented, and I feel very fortunate and honored that this happened to me. And then not only do I get to hang out with these guys, but I get to hang out with you. And Full Paper's going to electrocute me.
When you least expect it.
For me, I think it would be put yourself out there more. Growing up, I had literally no confidence. Still sometimes struggle with that, but this show gave me a huge amount of confidence to go out and do more things in my life. And, you know, talking in front of how many hundred people are here. I think I threw up in like my grade 9 English class having to present a book in front of like 20 people. So put yourself out there more and do it. Just do it.
Just do it.
You owe Nike some money now.
If anyone has something that they're burning to share, please do. Otherwise, I want to make sure I'm watching the queue get longer and longer. So let's turn to the audience.
Questions, folks.
So first questioner, please. And if you want to say your name and where you're from, please feel free.
Hi. Good to see you guys again. So my question is for all of you, but first I want to say, Claire, I was scouring through IMDb, and I realized that you and Michelle were in a movie together called Smart Cookies.
Correct.
Oh my god. I was like shocked that you were playing the mean girl.
Well,
Claire?
believe it or not, outside of this show, that's what I'm typecast as. Like it's especially for film and TV, it's normally the like sassy like cheerleader, or like the complete opposite where it's like the tomboy, like best friend.
Yeah, and Michelle was the quiet one.
Yeah,
I was like,
right? Very incorrect.
Yeah, I was like,
except for the singing.
Yeah, she did a great job.
That checks out.
But I was just curious for all of you. Has there ever been a time when you get cast as a character that you're shocked you got or weren't expecting?
This one.
Yeah,
every single time.
My own voice. I never expect to book with my own voice. It's boring.
That's true, actually.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for your. Thanks so much. Let's see if we can direct questions to one or two specific members versus everyone. Otherwise, we're not going to get through all the queue. And if you can keep it to one question, no followers. Sorry, I don't like these restrictions, but huge queue, go.
Hi, I'm Logan from Chicago, and my question is for Jim. In the two-parter, Tyrek mentioned that the Discord's cast magic is crazy and unusable.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, back in season 4, he absorbed it. Why exactly is it so crazy now?
He absorbed it, but he didn't use it in season 4. And also in this, he'd already been powered up by the magic that was already in Grogar's bell, so I think there's just a little bit of a difference. I mean, it doesn't track 100%, we'll admit that, but yeah, and it's also split between other ponies too, so that was our justification for that.
Thanks for the question.
Hello, I'm Ava from Minneapolis. Thank you all for coming to the convention. My question was about the D&D campaign. What revision do you play, and do you have any stories about the campaign?
Oh, go guys.
We play 5e, and I play a Kenku rogue named Kerplunk.
I play a Tabaxi warlock named Boots.
And I'm a Minotaur bard named Bogwillow.
Boots is Bogwillow's biggest fan, but Bogwillow doesn't give Boots the time of day. It's the best dynamic.
And my rogue forged Bogwillow's signature, and it's just like, I'm your #1 fan, sincerely Bogwillow. And I gave it to her character, and now like she keeps on looking over at Bogwillow, and it's just like, it's just really awkward. But yeah, it's a ton of fun. So,
so much fun.
Maybe we will stream it since people actually.
I don't know if we'll get Steph and Morgan and
We'll
Haley on
drag
board.
them to it.
Just don't tell them.
Film them without their consent.
Yeah, that'll go well.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Hi, me again.
Hi.
I have a question for Jim.
Yes, sir.
Go for it.
In the last problem, why was Twilight a recolored Celestia? Was it due to like time constraints or?
So the head is different, and the hair, of course, is different. Yeah, there's so much new design in those last 3 episodes. It was a beast. So it was easier for us to take the existing build. Everyone's okay. Everyone's fine. Don't worry about it. It was easy to take the existing build rather than create a new one from scratch, rig it all up for 1 episode. It's hard to justify that, so that's why.
Yeah, I completely get that.
Thanks for the question. Next up.
This is for Big Jim.
Yes, sir.
Do the Future Six have any canon names or personalities, or is that up to fan discretion?
It's one of those things where we didn't really have to figure it out. It wasn't in the script. It was just like it ends with a song. We knew that she was going to Ponyville, so the adding those kids meeting Luster Dawn, that was added at the storyboard stage, so they don't have any official canon names.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Because for some reason I think of the Karen as the mom friend.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Next up.
I have a question for Big Jim.
Oh, okay.
No. Like we had 4 in a row, it'd be funny.
So-
Watch this one.
so-
Ready?
You heard me, but yeah. So this question is for Big Jim. So the Starlight, Glimmer, and Trixie dynamic is one of my favorite things in the show. And it's something that before it happened, I would never have thought of it, but afterward it just seemed so obvious in retrospect, even their colors seemed to match. So I was kind of wondering, when you were making Starlight Glimmer, did you have Trixie in mind, or when did that relationship?
Well, we were batting around the idea of just Trixie's a former villain, Starlight's a former villain. It would be an interesting story to see what happens if we threw them together. And the first time Kelly and Kathleen came in the room, the script was good, but then they came in the room and were playing off each other and holy crap, this is something weird and special. And it was so fun because the main 6 have to be really nice to each other. They're really good characters. And Trixie and Starlight are nasty to each other. And it's so funny. It's so funny to me. And
Everyone has that friend.
Yeah.
Everyone has that
the one that you just can't deal with.
Yeah. And the one that your mom doesn't really think is an appropriate friend for you, but that makes you want to be friends with them even more.
I wish that we were able to bring more people to see the 2 of you in those sessions because it's something special.
Thank you.
Here's a question for the folks in line. How many of you have questions for Big Jim? Raise the hand. All right, go ahead,
So we
please.
can leave, right?
You can all pretend to be Big Jim if you want.
Hello, Big Jim. I'd like to ask you what you think about the future of My Little Pony in concerns about episodic content and possibly going away from that, and whether an audience would actually receive a more coherent narrative more.
On G5 stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, I have no idea what is going to happen with G5. We won't be involved. I won't be involved. So, I mean, I think if you want to talk about the larger entertainment landscape about how things are working, I know that Hasbro's been experimenting with the YouTube shorts. There's a lot of the Equestria Girls content has been that. I don't know how successful that's been for them. I imagine pretty well because they keep making them. I mean, I have no information about what G5 is going to be, so I don't really know if I can speak to it much. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Thanks very much for your question.
You're welcome.
Next up, we have a question from Pinkie Pie.
Oh, yeah.
Alec on Pinkie Pie.
Just yell it really loud.
Twilight outlive her friends.
How many of you in line were going to ask that question?
Question we all want to know. Oh, you're the best.
My answer is Dad's friends have been exposed to a lot of weird magic over the years. So who knows how that affected them.
They're going to outlive her.
I don't expect a pony version of Chernobyl anytime soon.
What do you think is going to happen? What do you think?
Yeah, what do you think?
The thing is, the main five were shown aging in the last problem, so right. But it's also illustrating the last problem that they're still together forever. But since they're aging, they're gonna die eventually. I think they're gonna die eventually. So how's that gonna?
You're a freaky kid.
You are in
You know what's up.
They'll live forever, but they won't stop aging.
Look at the power of animation on her side. I think
Twilight has better skincare regime than we do. She uses sunscreen. She drinks water and they don't. And I think that's a lesson for everyone.
Use sunscreen.
Yeah, and then face plant into a book. And then
I think I'm going to die before I have a proper answer for that question.
I like that question was yelled. I think it made it better.
Yeah.
Quick round of applause for Thank You Bye.
Thank you.
Asking the question that was on everyone's mind. Okay, rapid fire questions. You have 5 seconds to ask.
Since I've got Cozy Glow and Starlight up there, I've done a little acting in my day, and I always enjoyed playing villains more. Did you find that the same, since you're kind of free of restrictions?
Yeah, absolutely. Villains are super, super fun to play. They always have a really clear objective, and the best villains are righteously angry, which is super fun to play as an actor.
And you get to be big. You get to be. There's no such thing as too big when you're a bad guy.
Yeah. Thanks.
Next up.
Now I'm just imagining Twilight walking through a graveyard.
So this is...
It's Halloween.
What's your question?
So this is for whoever wants to answer. If you were doing anything other than what brought you here, voice acting, directing, storyboarding, drawing, what would you be doing?
Sleeping.
Sitting on the couch.
You mean like in life as a different career?
Yes.
Okay, so I think I would either be a librarian or what are those people who track down diseases? Yeah, right. An epidemiologist. I think I'd be an epidemiologist or a librarian.
Paleontologist.
Oh.
I want to dig up dinosaurs.
Marine biologist.
Yeah! Dolphins!
I love living in dolphin world.
Before I dropped out to do cartoons, I was a biology major and I was going to be a geneticist.
Oh, cool. That's a sharp one.
Thanks so much for the question. Who's up next?
Thank you.
What's the hardest part of this one is, I guess, is one for Tori. It's mainly about storyboarding, and I'm just wondering, what for you? What was the hardest part when it comes to like continuing to storyboard and master storyboarding?
Wrist pain.
Time management.
Yeah. Like on our plane ride here, I was working on a storyboard. But yeah, managing my time and also making sure my body doesn't fail on me is the hardest part. But like, I feel like boarding itself is pretty natural because I like close my eyes and there's a TV in my head and I'm watching the show and that's how I do it. Yeah.
You're a freaky kid.
I hope that helps.
Dance, you bored too? What do you want to? What do you struggle the most with?
Yeah, time management's a big one. A lot of people struggle with that, so you have to kind of schedule yourself. But it's also really good because then you can, if you're having a bad day, you can just take the day off and then make up the time later. But you have to hold yourself to it and make sure you actually do it is the problem.
Thanks so much for the question. Next,
Thank you.
Next up.
Claire.
Yeah.
Obviously, your dad's a lot more prolific as a voice actor. What is that like growing up?
Yes,
like,
he is. Yes, he is.
Is that intimidating, or working with him? What's that like?
Intimidating? Bring it on! I don't care. You know what? I'm doing a cartoon series right now where I'm the lead and he's on the sidelines. So yay to that. It's very fun because I feel like I have all the power and the control. Honestly, no, to drop the act a little bit, my dad is obviously a very established voice actor, but I don't care because I'm his daughter. I feel like someone else would be intimidated, but I walk in and I'm like, great, I can make jokes the entire time about my dad. This is awesome. So bring it on.
He's also got like 30 years on you, so
yeah, really. I mean, fair enough. To start. Yeah,
You ever
look at you when you're
dunk on me like, guess what I'm doing? I'm at another con, Dennis.
Thanks for the question. Next up, also we have started a huge queue, but bear in mind that there are going to be autograph sessions and there is a Sunday guest of honor panel, so if you don't have a chance to ask your question now, you will have a chance later on and tomorrow. Go, please.
See, I have a question for Katrina. Have you seen the Overwatch 2 trailer that dropped yesterday, and who's your favorite character?
I have not seen it yet. We were talking about it at dinner. My boyfriend messaged me and said he cried, so I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna lose it. My main is Moira. Yeah.
Next up.
This is either for Big Jim or for Sunny. My question is Cozy actually a foal, or is she really a 42-year-old serial killer?
There's no official word from Hasbro, but the way my headcanon is she's 150, and she's got y'all fooled.
Yeah. Good answer.
Oh, yeah.
So this question is for Kelly and Sunny, and I was just kind of curious, how do you think things would have turned out as far as like the villain phase goes for your characters if they happen to have siblings?
Who's to say they didn't?
I don't look under the bed.
And they ate the other in the womb.
Well, I think it might have made a difference for Starlight. She might have felt like she had some support when she was a foal, and maybe she wouldn't have gone to the dark side in the first place. Maybe. I don't know.
Or her sister just pushes her over the edge.
Yeah.
It's all very what happened to Baby Jane.
That'd be cool, though.
No wire hangers.
Pardon me, Big Jim, sir. If you could add anything to MLP now that it's over, like what would it have been?
Battle armor, mech suits. I don't know. I think there was the nice thing with the show is there was such a deep well of the world that we could have done more with so many side characters. Each character on the show could have had a whole season devoted to themselves. So it would have been nice to do more with Zecora or more about the Yaks. We didn't really get to hang out in Griffinstone very much, so there's lots of opportunities to do more.
Hey, Cozy Glow, what happened to your parents?
Don't look under the bed. Murderer.
Hi, I'm Jameson from Belfast, Northern Ireland. For anyone in particular, how difficult was it to write the final episode?
I don't know about writing. We sort of knew where we were going when we did the story summit. It was really difficult to get it all in. Those last 3 episodes were massive, and I think when we did the first board pass for especially 24 and 25, they were each over 10 minutes too long. So 20 minutes of stuff, and it's not always really exciting stuff. It's not like a fight sequence or something came out, but tightening that up and watching it today, there's still things where I'm like, it's too fast. Those moments are going by too fast. So it was just really hard making sure that we hit all the story points, but didn't rush the emotional beats, and it's a real balancing act. Hopefully, people feel like it worked, but.
So I think we've got time for one more question and then we're going to wrap it up.
Thank you.
Charlie?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no answers only, and I think this is still going to be the last couple of questions. Yeah, go.
Rapid fire, let's go.
Okay, this is for Katrina. Is there anything that Yaks cannot smash?
Yes or no?
Kryptonite.
Hello there, this is just for everybody. If you could own any animal in the world as a pet, what would it be?
Yes.
No.
Yes, all of it.
Giraffe.
We're just doing yes or no's now. Or one word. Okay.
Dog.
Giraffe.
Snow leopard.
Tiger.
Bear.
Eagle.
Tarantula.
I got those.
Oh, no.
All right, I think we're going to have one more question, and then if you still have questions, we can get to autograph session. You might be able to ask, or guest of honor panel tomorrow.
Also, I have to pee real bad.
We can finish the line. Charlie is saying we can finish the line, but these are yes or no questions or one-word answer questions. Please go.
Hello, my name's Vance. My question's for Kelly. What was one of your favorite Barbie movies you voice acted for?
I like the first one because I got to work with Tim Curry.
Oh, nice.
Next up, yes or no question or one-word answers, please.
Is there a proper way for a unicorn to wear a baseball cap?
Yes. No. Maybe.
There's got to be a hole in it.
I just want to ask, how are you guys doing today? Are you guys enjoying the con?
Yes.
Yes.
Easy question. Cozy, what was it like being Discord powered?
Awesome.
All right, and with that, we're going to wrap things up. Can we please have another huge round of applause for our wonderful guests of honor, Jim Miller, Katrina Sarsfield, Kelly Sheridan, Tori Grant, Desiree Selmack, Sonny Westbrook, and Claire Corlett.
Thank you to Paul Papers for moderating this here for him.
Thank you, Thor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guest of honor. Make sure to come and see them on autographs. Thank you. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to immediately get the room switched.